if you're not in a flood zone, odds are the flood insurance is super affordable, like really affordable, maybe, hundreds, not thousands. And typically your homeowners in policy, they may even offer an endorsement to just add it on. So it can't hurt to ask. We always check flood zone. I always offer a flood quote, just to say, hey, this is available to you. Rainwater happens, things pool, drains get clogged. Let's be proactive. Let's make sure it's super affordable. Can't hurt to at least have a conversation.
Welcome to Real Hits of Real Estate, where Southwest Florida's real estate market meets local flavor. If you love real estate, local discoveries, and learning how to make smart moves while living the Southwest Florida lifestyle, you're in the right place. Hi there. I'm excited to introduce my guest today. Sean Mazzola is an agency owner and licensed insurance professional with you gotta help me out with this pronunciation,
Say, yeah, kind of like
Say.
SAY. Yep.
Okay, Say Mazzola Agency at Brightway Insurance, right here in Southwest Florida. He's been in the industry for 9 years now, and what I love about Sean is that he genuinely cares about helping his clients cut through all the confusion that comes with insurance market and finding the right coverage for their specific needs. That kind of dedication is hard to find, and I think you're going to love what he has to share with you today. So welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Heather. Happy to be on. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, so I want to start with the journey here. So with almost a decade in the industry, in the insurance industry, what drove you to focus your career specifically on serving Southwest Florida?
Yeah, great question. I love the area I live in. The people are great. The beach access, the warm climate. It's hot in our summers, as you know. Can't get your man without breaking a sweat. But you know what? I'll trade it for those cold winters we had
I
back
know,
up
right?
north.
Now, where up north were you from originally?
Originally from Michigan, just outside Detroit. Yep, my wife and I were there and for some time and spent half my life down here growing up. Had a network. My grandmother was here, family, and we love it. We miss back home. We'll go back and visit this summer, but we'll spend 2 weeks over the fourth and come back down.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Why did I forget that? I don't know why. I think when you're like down here, you kind of just forget there's a whole other world out there.
Exactly, our own little bubble.
Totally, definitely a little bubble down here. So, how does knowing this area so well actually help you serve your clients?
Yeah, what I would say is, I own a home here. I realize the importance behind covering one of, if not the biggest asset you may or may not ever have, right? So, this is what I do. This is my own personal skin in the game, owner in the company, and I care about what I do. I really enjoy what I do. I think I go home at night and I talk to my wife about what I do, and she gets really bored. So she's like, "Let's go for a bike ride." But I like what I do.
Yeah,
So yeah,
good. Well, that's awesome. Okay, so now we're going to get right into it. We're finally hearing about the Florida insurance marketing softening. What does this particularly mean for our local homeowners?
yeah. So what would say is this: is the timing right now is good. As you know, June 1st just passed. Hurricane season's upon us, and thankfully, fingers crossed, these storms keep dodging us, right? And because they've kept dodging us for a little bit of time here anyway, carriers are reintroducing themselves back into the market, and where there's more carriers, there's more competition and rates decreasing, right? More opportunities for homeowners to attain insurance and hopefully more so at an affordable level. So yeah, right now is a great time to do a policy review. Doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of time. And we handle all the heavy lifting. That's what we do here at Brightway. So we're excited.
So, if a homeowner previously decided to self insure because rates were too high, why is right now a critical time to explore new options?
Yeah, great question. I would say first off and foremost, it's great. You saved the money while you can. You had the self-insurance and hopefully you never have to use it. That's what I tell my clients. But if you do, I will say, we've all had that trip to the hospital or, had that scare of a storm roll through. Having that peace of mind is essential, right? One, and then two, with the market softening, carriers coming in. I also have a co-insurance plan now, which I'm really excited for those who are self-insuring or high income and high net worth homes. They're just like, hey, I'd rather just self-insure. Well, hey, what if we have an option that's a fraction of the cost? It's not going to give you 100% coverage, but something is always better than nothing. So, let's take a look at things. I always tell people, especially when I do auto, I'll say, let's take a peek under the hood. In this case, let's take a peek
Yeah,
under the roof and see what's going
right.
on. So,
Right. Especially now with the timing. um, so I think so many homeowners set their policy and forget it, including me. Why is right now the perfect time to actually sit down and review their existing homeowners policy?
yeah, great question. And at Brightway, at our office here, the same as Ola Agency, we really we don't believe just in trying to save our clients money. That's a huge part of it, but we want to make sure you're covered. Last thing we want is a phone call after a claim was ever made saying, "Hey, I didn't have coverage B." Or my deductible is so flipping high. I didn't know I had this high of a We take the educational approach. So we always like to go through that with a fine tooth comb, especially right now, considering that we're here. It's hurricane season. Let's make sure you're covered enough. Inflation's on the rise. Let's make sure your coverage A is there, your dwelling coverage. Let's make sure if you have a new shed or you put up a new fence recently because you got a puppy, let's make sure those things are covered before it's too late. And we learn about not having the coverage when really you should have had it all along. So,
So when you audit a new client's current policy, what are some of the gaps in coverage or red flags do you most commonly
yeah,
find?
good question. Red flags. I would say oftentimes people unfortunately they shop on price. And the way to get price down is by raising deductible. And sometimes they'll talk with an agent that will give them just a high deductible plan. A 5%. I've seen even once a 10% deductible, and the lady's like, I can't afford that. I'm like, I don't know who could afford that. So we make sure that deductibles are affordable and we educate on that because if a storm hits, I always recommend have that emergency fund aside. Set it in an account and just know if there is a rainy day. And I hope you never have to use it. I always like to make sure to coverage B. I always ask people, hey, have you done any upgrades recently? I always try to do my little recon, look on Google Maps and whatnot, and see if they have a new shed or a shed there, a fence. We want to make sure that they're covered for any additional structures. Lanai cage as well. We want to make sure they're screened. Those things are not cheap. They are very expensive down here. And you see them after a storm bent over and caved in and everything. So, those are just a few things that we want to make sure are in a policy.
Yeah, because a lot of those are you kind of forget about that. You don't think about it until they're broken or busted, and now it's like, oh shoot, now I gotta what do I do on that? Yeah. So obviously, this is the super important, and obviously, as of June 1st, we are now in hurricane season. And since we live here in Florida, what are the absolute most important steps homeowners need to be doing right now to get ready for hurricane season?
First off, safety first. I recommend visiting the Florida disaster.org website. Get your list of supplies ready. Have everything. We saw it with COVID. Once everyone hits things hit the fan, they run in, they buy things up. So stay prepared on that stuff, especially if you got little ones. Have fans ready. It gets hot here. Get creative. Fill the bathtub up. Have your supply water, whatever it is. But on that note, let's make sure we're doing the things we can ahead of time. If you don't have impact glass windows, let's make sure you have hurricane shutters. Um, if you haven't done a recent inspection in the last 5 years, let's get a wind mitigation report going. Those are good for every 5 years, especially if you got your roof replaced after Hurricane Ian. There may be some credits out there, some discounts on your homeowner's insurance available. And let's make sure we're staying up to date on inspections and doing everything we can to mitigate from future damages and document. Always document and send that documentation to your carrier because that is, those are possible credits for you. Money back in your pocket.
We like that. That's for sure. And I know you kind of touched a little bit on this, but how can buyers ensure their property is fully protected before a name storm is even forming in the Gulf?
Yeah, so to protect their property ahead of time, you know, covering your end with those inspections go a long way because if you have a free and clear inspection, that's a good thing, right? If you have to process a claim, they can separate, hey, this was pre-existing damage or this wasn't. So that's key, right? You might not know what's going on your roof. These roofs are not cheap. They're very expensive. And as far as protecting yourself, impact glass windows are huge. And, I always say this to people, have your hurricane shutters, but my senior citizens, they're not capable of doing this, putting hurricane shutters on oftentimes, especially if there's a two-story home. Have a handyman, have someone that they know ready to go. Don't be afraid to spend a few $100 and just put them up and take them off. It's a lot less expensive than having to pay a deductible. So, use that discernment there.
I've definitely helped, even out of town, by, clients of mine that, you know, I hook them up with, I have a couple contacts. I'm like, hey, can you put up their hurricane shutters for me? And they're super great because they know what to do and
Right on the
they get it
spot.
done super fast. I'm
Yeah.
like,
They're using
and
like drills,
a couple hundred
and we're
bucks.
like using screwdrivers, like,
I've seen them. I'm like,
they're done.
wow.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
they get
speedy
busy.
Gonzalez.
They get busy. So you want to make sure you have them on speed dial. That's who we are. We're local. We have contacts. And that's who we are. We are a resource. We're not just here to make a sale. We're here to earn a client for life. That's our goal at Brightway.
And I've done this even for me, and it's just going that extra step of documentation. I'll take pictures of, okay, the shutters are up all over, so it's done. So would you recommend, people that have to put hurricane shutters up to do that?
Absolutely. Document the fact that they're taken. The nice thing about iPhones these days, they document time, date, everything. It's all there in cadence with. So, have your documentation, make sure it's taken care of, um, and, be proactive. I've seen this happen with my parents. They got hit really hard from, it was Irma, if I'm not mistaken, no, Ian rather. They had some flooding and their place got flooded, and it was heartbreaking. They kind of
Yeah.
did a few things, but when they left town to evacuate, they come back home, and my dad's favorite thing is massage chair was ruined and this and that, and it's like, you feel for it, and this hits
Right.
home for me. So,
Yeah.
this is my backyard. These are my family members. These are my friends that I'm insuring. So, yeah, be proactive, 100%.
So, okay, so this is the other big topic. I'm not being easy on you today. So, here's the big one I hear all the time. I'm not in a flood zone. So, do I really need flood insurance? What do you say to that?
If I may, first off, if you're not in a flood zone, odds are the flood insurance is super affordable, like really affordable, maybe, hundreds, not thousands. And typically your homeowners in policy, they may even offer an endorsement to just add it on. So it can't hurt to ask. We always check flood zone. I always offer a flood quote just to say, hey, this is available to you. And listen, it doesn't just rain in certain spots. I'll use myself for example. I am in a flood zone, but a very minimal flood zone. I don't foresee it ever taking place, but my lender requires it, so I got it. They did a bunch of debris removal in the preserve in my backyard. I never had rainwater in my backyard pool. Well, since then, trees are no longer absorbing and bushes are not absorbing the rainwater. I'm noticing pooling coming up to my drain, and for some reason, I keep calling the county and they're taking care of it and I maintain it. The drain is getting clogged because of all that extra water and it's coming closer to my house. So rainwater happens, things pool, drains get clogged. Let's be proactive. Let's make sure, it's super affordable. Can't hurt to at least have a conversation.
Right. And those are the things you wouldn't even think about. That's just
No,
something that,
until it happens.
until it happens. Exactly. So, have the recent storms here in Southwest Florida changed how homeowners and buyers view flood coverage?
I would say yes. I mean, the flash flooding that we had, like, you don't think it's real, when you're watching these tsunami movies and stuff. And it's not that there's tsunami, but the flash flooding, we saw what it did down Bonita Beach Road and so on. in Fort Myers Beach. My heart goes out to these people. People are still recovering. Like this is tough to watch. Boats were up in trees and stuff like this, crazy. So it's real. And you want to be. And I don't like to use scare as a tactic by any means, but I'm just letting them know like this happened and happened recently. I hope it doesn't happen ever again. But we need to be prepared. And that's why it pays to take a look at things, make sure you're covered well.
So we're going to talk about Southwest Florida lifestyle because that's why we're here. So I have to ask. So when you're not busy protecting everyone's home, what's your favorite hidden gem or local restaurant here in Southwest Florida?
All right, all right. So I love my food. I love my seafood down here as well. Can't go wrong. More of a local. I'm here in Bonita. Pinchers, love my pinchers. BOGO drinks and delicious food. Always hot, always fresh. They do a great job. But if you're wanting to take a trip down to Marco, it's actually the Isles of Capri, just off the perimeter of Marco there, called Island Gypsy. They have the best grouper sandwich you will ever eat. I just had lunch and I'm making myself hungry right now. So,
I think I'm just getting hungry.
yeah, there you go. Wants a kiss from mama. That's funny. But those are some great spots. Highly
Okay.
recommend them. Hmm.
Nice, nice. So what's your favorite seafood dish?
I love me some grouper. I mean, just a classic grouper sandwich. Can't go wrong. I love my fish blackened. So got a little kick to it and can't go wrong with some fish and chips. So
Okay, there you go. I'm not a big seafood person. I grew up in Michigan. I'm like a meat and potato kind of girl.
fair enough.
So,
Yep, your corn, meat,
but
and potatoes. I love it.
yes, but I do like mahi mahi. That's probably my favorite. Yeah, especially if it's nice and fresh. Like I can tell. I can tell. Yeah.
Yep, totally different. Makes sense.
So, what is it about the local lifestyle here that makes this area the perfect place for you to live and build your business?
Yeah. Well, can't go wrong with the obvious. We love the sunshine here. It's beautiful day in and day out. But I'm looking out my window. It's a little gloomy today, but you know what? That's okay. We need the rain. But the beautiful sunny days, they're great. My wife did, and I hung out with the kids last week and friends. She did yoga on the beach. We did a sunset. Our friend's a photographer. He came out there and did pictures of us all, like lit up, and it's awesome. It's and the great thing too for anyone that's hesitant to move down. Everyone's like, "Oh, Florida's retirement central." Well, no, since COVID, people are working remote. I got a dozen young friends in my community. We all hang out. We go to the beach. We, do fun things together. So even if you're considering listening to this podcast from out of state, like we love where we live. This place is beautiful. So come and visit us.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you.
yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, a lot of the Midwesterners, come down here because we know what it's like to experience more than 6 months of brewery dry, you
Hmm.
know. Yeah,
I get it. I
I
get
don't
it.
miss that at
People are
all.
like, I can't live without my basement. Well, you know what? You don't need a basement. You spend your days outside. You go on
Right?
walks.
You get a lanai now.
That's right. Hang out by the pool. That's where you can catch
uh,
me.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. So, looking at where Florida's insurance market is heading, what's the smartest move a home buyer can make today to protect themselves down the road?
Yeah, great question, right? We're all about being proactive. That's what insurance is all about. Let's do a policy review. Whether it's with myself or someone at our agency, or you got your own local agent, that's fine. Like, listen, let's make sure you're covered well. Inflation's on the rise. Let's make sure you have an inflation guard built into your plan, your dwelling's where it needs to be, um, and let's make sure we're covered. Let's take a look at what possibly doing some inspections, wind mitigation, 4-point inspections. Is it time for new windows? Let's look at impact glass windows. These are credits. These are discounts available to pay less and get more. Let's consider this. And it's an investment into your home and your biggest asset. So, let's do a policy review. Let's see if there's some tidbits there. We got contacts within the inspecting industry, so we're here to help. We're a resource.
Hmm. So, how often do you say to do a policy review? Like, how often?
I
Like
would
every
definitely recommend
year?
annually. Yep,
annually?
annually take a look at things. Let's not look at things 2 weeks before your policy's up. Let's take a look at things 6, 8 weeks ahead of time. If we need an inspection done, let's make sure we're covered well. And not only that, with rates decreasing, now's not a bad time to look at things because if there are discounts available, let's lock in let's lock her in a great rate. We don't know what the future brings. Let's make sure we're covered well, and let's lock in a 12-month policy and get you covered and prepared for what's to come. And fingers crossed, nothing does come, but
Right.
we're going to stay a
Yeah.
step ahead and be proactive. That's our
Mm-hmm.
goal.
And that's a great thing too, because you don't have to wait till the very end of your policy to have a new policy review. And if, let's say, you do it, a month prior or even 2 months prior, and then you switch over, you'll get refunded from the old policy, right?
That's correct. They prorate what it would be that you should be owed. Now you have to be careful with this. I had this with a client the other day. I was able to help him with his 3 rentals, but his homeowner's policy had a clause that he would pay back 25% of the premium no matter when he leaves the policy. So I said, listen, I like your policy. To be honest, I don't love it, but I don't want you to waste premium dollars. I'm glad I caught that before it was too late. And he's sticking with that. And what I did is I put him in my calendar about 6 weeks out. We're going to go over his policy again, and I'm going to put him on with a carrier that I know and trust, and go from there.
Okay. Is that common, or is that because it's a rental property?
It's more or less when it comes to the admitted versus not admitted. Not that admitted carriers can't have the 25% rule in place, but I always call the carrier. I get it straight from the horse's mouth. I document it and I make sure that my client's covered. Because, hey, if you're spending a couple $1,000, 25%, that's $500. That's a lot of money to me. So, to all of us these days, can't go to the grocery store without breaking the bank. So, um, we want to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. We're here to earn a lifetime client. We want a good taste in their mouth.
Definitely, I agree with that, hands down. What future industry trends should Southwest Florida buyers, sellers, and realtors prepare for as we navigate the shifting market?
Obviously, with things softening, it's a great time to talk with people that have been considering moving down. They're worried about insurance rates and so on. And when I talk with the realtors I work with, I try to be a resource. I'm in their back pocket. They have me on their cell phone. They're giving me calls and saying, "Hey, can you get someone out to this quote today?" And we bust it out. I got guys in office. If I'm out and about, we make sure we get it to them. But as far as trends, it's an ever changing market, right? So, with that being said, having someone that's knowledgeable, we're a family company. Me and my cousin, we tag team this, and we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay for a long time. We stay cutting edge, and we're about the education. We love to learn. So, when a change takes place, we're going to know about it, and we're going to educate, and we're going to make sure our client knows about it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, to get like a insurance quote, because I get asked that often too. What's what do you think the homeowner's insurance is going to be on this house? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
I
the
sell
person you
real
want that
estate,
info
so
on me. That's not what I do. That's not
funny,
my
funny.
my wheelhouse. So, to get an insurance quote, what do you need from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell my realtors and so on, I always appreciate just a warm email introduction or a phone call or group text, and I can reach out and ask them. Typically, I'll ask for their declaration page. This just goes over their coverages, nothing invasive. Just, I want to do an apples to apples, and I want to also make sure that they have enough coverage. And then from that, I can pull kind of more or less what I need. And then we get a couple simple things like date of birth. There's a couple fact-finding questions I'll ask if there's any updates or any reports, inspection reports they had done, so I can offer credits. So a few simple items. We get quotes out. I'm a fan of under promising and over delivering. So we say, hey, listen, we'll get this back to you within 24 hours, and typically by end of day we got it back to them. So, quick and to the point. But yeah, that's we're here. We're a resource, and give us a call, shoot us an email. We're your guys.
Yeah. And if it's like a buyer looking at, a handful of different homes and stuff like that, I know you probably don't want to quote every single home, but is there a way that you can say, okay, like the range of these homes, typically the insurance would be this, or
Yeah, well, it just depends on what the carrier's appetite is, right? You might have more of an intercoastal home that certain carriers don't want to take on that risk, and some do. We have a pretty neat platform. I plug in the information I need. Takes about 5 minutes. I press a button, and boom, I get a bunch of quotes coming back that give me a good idea of what's going on in that area. So I'm able to ballpark. So we don't mind. Usually, whenever we run a new quote, there's always something that we learn new and new about an area. And every conversation leads to another conversation. So we're not opposed to ever just saying, hey, let's run a few options. Let's see what's looking good for you. If you're on the fence and you can save some money on this homeowners because of XYZ, we have no problem getting those quotes over to you. You can make your decision that way.
oh, that's nice. Yeah, definitely. In this kind of market,
Oh, yeah.
everything helps.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sean, for joining with me on my podcast and going over this such a fun topic. And everybody wants to talk about insurance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely, something we all need and everything. So I appreciate you taking the time and answering these great questions. And I think I learned some stuff new, and I think the listeners will also. So, well, until then, I don't know what I'm saying. Until then, have a wonderful rest of the week, and hopefully the sun comes out. I know it will. And I know you wanted to do a shout out to the Masters.
Oh, yeah, I got my Masters logo on. Just a friendly reminder to apply for your Masters tickets for 2027.
Okay.
The
That's like
window
a
is
whole
open.
year in advance.
It is, but it's hard to get in. I haven't been yet. I'd love to. It's funny. My wife's like, it's Masters week. She knows I watch golf on Mondays only on Masters week.
Okay. Yeah, my husband,
Yeah.
it's football. So,
Okay, he's a
and
football
that
guy.
seems like it's like all year. I don't know how that is, but it seems to be all year. But so do you play golf?
I do. Yep. Live on a golf course. Love to play. Haven't played since this morning, actually. So.
Oh wow. What's your favorite course?
Ooh. Well, playing tomorrow, if I might say. A lot of my networking is thankfully done on the golf course, which is how I've designed my business. I love to play golf and meet new people. I get to play Mediterra, which I love. Beautiful, but there's so many out here to love and enjoy. But excited about that. Spend some time with my dad and my brothers, and going to be a good day.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, awesome. Well, thanks again, Sean, and have a wonderful day. And
My
until
pleasure.
next
Thank
time,
you.
okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Real Hits of Real Estate. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a beat. Join the conversation on social media and let me know what topics you love covered. Stay tuned for more expert advice and local finds coming your way. I'm Heather Hitz with Remax Realty Group, and whether you're buying, selling, or simply planning your next chapter, I'm here to help you make your next move your best move. Until then, make it a Hitz experience.